Mississippian for virtually all my life. I have lived in several places in this state, and there's something about Mississippi. There's something about its people, the generosity and the love, and I know that when our eyes are open to something, that we'll have the courage to walk through and to be who we're called to be. I wanted today just to remind our elected leaders, as well as all Mississippians, of our sacred obligation to those who are languishing under the crushing burden of poverty. 22% of our citizens live below the poverty line. 22%. That means that 32%, 1 in 3 of our children, are living in conditions that should be unacceptable to all of us. We used to be a society who hated poverty, but we're slowly turning into people in a society who hates the poor. And that is where we've got it backwards. This should be disturbing, especially to those of us who revere Mary, Mother of Jesus, who's in desperate need of medical care, or our fellow Nazarene who fed the hungry, ate with sinners, healed the lepers, and who said, "Let the children come to me." The prophet Isaiah speaks of undoing the heavy burdens and letting the oppressed go free. If I ignore these teachings about the poor, I am guilty of denying the very gospel message that I would attempt to preach every Sunday. If it's not good news to the poor, it is not good news. So who's responsible for caring for the poor? Who's responsible? We are. I am as an individual. You are. We're all there as individuals. Churches and businesses, they're responsible too. But let's not pretend that our government, a government established of the people, by the people, and for the people, doesn't play a role. Every law, every budget that's passed in this great building is a moral document. It explains what our priorities are as a state. We are the poorest state in the union. What are we doing about it? Budgets speak louder than words. If our state budget could talk, it would not have much to say about 32% of our children who live in poverty. We, the people, are allowing our leaders to violate our constitutional mandate to adequately fund K-2 through 12 education. We are $1.3 billion with the B dollars behind since 2008. We have cut our spending by 13.1%. It's 13.1% less now than it was in 2008 when the recession began. We, the people, have allowed our legislators to cut our educational budget more deeply than 40 other states during this recession. How can we stand by and allow a child in Holmes County to eat through an underfunded education? How do we withhold from her the very things that might help her climb out of poverty? Are we going to tell her that we're sorry you were born in the wrong county? That we can't help you? Too bad you're not born in Rankin County or parts of Madison County. Is this what Jesus wants us to do? This is not just bad public policy. This is immoral. Our state leaders are currently blocking federal funding that would give 300,000 in Mississippi better access to health care. They're holding back federal money that is blocking masses of hardworking people from a real solution to their health issues. What are we going to say to a truck driver in Humphreys County who got Parkinson's disease? Sorry, you're living in the wrong state. We're not going to give you accessible, affordable health care. Really, state leaders? Is that what we call strong leadership? This is not just bad public policies anymore. Whether we admit it or not, we're all connected to each other. We're all one family. You don't have to have a child in school to be affected by embarrassingly low funding for our public schools. These kids will soon be adults, and our lack of effort now on behalf of our children will result in a less safe, a less secure, and less prosperous Mississippi in the future. As the old saying goes, if you think education's expensive, you should try ignorance. I pray for my state every day. I was raised here. I was taught by many people of many different races and faiths right here in Mississippi. I want to give back. I love my 2 children, but the God of justice calls me to love all children, not just my 2 children. I got to get beyond my security and love all children. Will this press conference fall on deaf ears? Maybe, but I hope not. Will it make people feel uncomfortable? Probably. Will our voices help to precipitate a change in consciousness about what's happening to our poor here? I hope so, but I don't know. I don't stand here today for any of these reasons. I speak today because I can't keep silent anymore. Reverend King said, history will have come to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of bad people, but the appalling